Hello everyone, so today I'm going to do a review on some of these Japanese saws. Workshop Heaven kindly sent me some along to review. If anyone that follows us, they'll pretty much know I've been buying from Workshop Heaven for years and I absolutely love me Japanese saws. So just to get it off the bat, I'm not against Western saws. I own Western saws and from time to time I do actually use them. I just personally think the Japanese saws, in my opinion, are better. They're more versatile and you can do more things with them. As I said, I'm not dismissing Western saws. So with that, I'm going to get started. So to save face, I'm not going to even try to pronounce half of these saws because my pronunciation of Japanese words is absolutely horrendous. So I will be putting things on the screen, and also there will be a link if you want to buy some of these saws or indeed any other tools. These guys do ship worldwide, so you're sorted pretty much wherever you are in the world. So first up is the RYOBA saw. So on one side you have a rip saw, pattern teeth, and on the other side you have cross-cut teeth. So these actually do come in different variations. You can get the longer blades, which I am used to using. This is the first time I've actually used a shorter style blade. What I will say with a shorter style blade, this might be a little bit better for maybe beginners. Obviously it's got less flex and there is actually people that do actually struggle with starting the saw off, but I did actually cover this in a couple of my last videos, so if you want to check them out, I'll put the video links at the end of this video or maybe in the description. So these are disposable saws, and how you change them is just a simple, and as you can see, it's just a simple locking mechanism. It's really simple, but you know, I've never had one of these come loose on us. It'd be a bit fiddly putting the thing back together, mind you. So the thing about this is that you could go out and buy the one saw, keep the handle, and you can go out to buy different blades. So these blades are replaceable, or disposable rather. They do last a very, very long time. I personally think it's money well spent if you are going to buy these. I mean, obviously they can be resharpened if you want to buy a traditional Japanese saw, just the same as Western saws, but I mean, there's no way on earth I'm going to try and resharpen something like that. I mean, that's a skill in itself to do that, so you know, I'll let the experts deal with that stuff and I just use them. So this blade that's in, this is I believe 0.45 of a millimeter, so it's ridiculously thin. And this is why you tend to get better cuts, or at least I tend to get better cuts with these type of saws. So how you can get away with this, it's basically as you're pulling the saw through the wood, you're creating tension, because obviously if you want to push it, there's going to be a lot of flex in it. As I said before, obviously you can get different blades for these. So this blade I'm holding in my hand, this is better suited for like cabinet making. You'll probably not be able to see. I'm going to take a photo of these and I'm going to put it up on the screen. But the teeth that are in this saw now are larger than the teeth that are on this saw. So this blade here is a lot finer. It's really suited better for, you know, finer work. And I find with this type of blade, obviously with it being finer, I tend not to use knife wars as much. Obviously if I'm going to be cutting, you know, some type of joinery, you know, if it's like mortise and tenon joint, obviously I'm going to use a knife to mark the shoulder lines, etc. But I mean, general cutting, as I said, with the teeth being so fine, you can really get away with not doing it some of the time, and a lot of the time, but not all of the time. So as I said, with these guys, they're very versatile. If I could only have one saw, this would be the saw. Obviously I'm fortunate enough to have quite a lot of Japanese saws, and I believe all of them do have the place. It's the same as Western saws, you know, different types of Western saws that all do have the place and the purpose. But the RYOBA, this guy, obviously you can rip with it, you can cross cut with it, you cut diagonally with it, and you can cut curves with it. So the handle, this is a new thing, or newish rather. I have to admit, I didn't get away with it at first just because of the way it looks. I'm not really a fan of plastic handles and such, but I do also have to admit that the grip is a lot better on one of these. Traditionally, they used to use, I believe it's called rattan, yes, something like that, but the grip, it's, you know, if your saw does get stuck into the grain of the wood, you know, and I have done it, you can literally like pull your hands off it, you know. So with this one, you can't, you know, I'm doing this and you can't really tell on, you know, like you guys watching this, but take my word for it, there's a lot more grip in one of these, and you don't have to grip it as much. So as much as I don't like the plastic look, the handles are really phenomenal for keeping your grip. I am actually going to demonstrate this now just to show you what you kind of can expect from one of these saws, or indeed the blades. So this section of wood is actually going to be a backrest for a new designer chair I'm doing, and I've got a bit of a curve to cut out here. And how I would do this would obviously be with a RYOBA, so I'm going to demonstrate that now. So that's the kind of thing you can do with one of these saws. I mean, it's not too bad, to be honest with you. Obviously I am still going to have to clean this up with a spoke shave, but I mean, so this is the bottom part of the seat, and I do have I think it's about 6 degrees, so I'm going to remove 6 degrees, so that basically means the seat's going to taper in towards like the rear of the seat. So again, just to show you what you can expect with one of these guys, I'm going to rip this section down. That's something to note as well. Sometimes when you are starting, and you might get a little bit of trouble like you've seen happening there. So all I've done was actually turn the thing around and use the crosscut portion of the blade, and obviously it helps you to get started. As you can see, for the size of it, it's not too shabby, and it does do the cut quite quickly. So these types of saws are not to be sniffed. They're really good saws. I've got some dowel here. I'm just going to bring you a bit closer, and I'm going to show you like what sort of a cut you'll get. So anyone that's cut dowel, this is oak, by the way, they'll know, obviously, if you want it to be reasonable, you've got to use a decent saw or a small tooth saw for this. This is a general purpose saw, so let's see what I can do. So that's not too shabby, as you can see, and you've just seen it rip through, you know, a full board. I think those board that's just cut the curve, and that was like 500 millimeters in width. So, you know, you can see, for it being as quick as it is, it can actually handle more delicate stuff like this. So as I said, you know, it really is like an all-rounder, can handle most things. I mean, but if you wanted something a bit more delicate, like I say, you could get this guy, and the same, I'll put the name on the screen. But this is, as I said, this type of blade is better suited for finer work, for cabinetry work, stuff like that. You can get away with stuff like that with this saw, but you know, obviously this blade has got the finer teeth, so obviously you're going to get finer results. Next up is this guy. It's another RYOBA. It's the big brother for for obvious reasons. Again, I'm going to put the full description somewhere on the screen. So when I first bought one of these, I bought one of these years ago with my own money. And the reason I bought this was for resawing, and it is actually sold, or at least it was, I'll have to check that again. It was sold as a resaw saw. And this cut resawing a piece of timber down, I think it was taking us somewhere in the region of about 45 minutes, no, it was an hour, I think it was maybe an hour, to resaw a piece of oak. And this brought it down to somewhere in the region of 15 minutes. It sounds too good to be true, but I kid you not, I couldn't believe it. So these really do excel, you know, at resawing. So on the other side, same again, it has the crosscut portion. And just to give you a bit of an idea, so this is a saw, the first saw I was using. So you know, you can see there's a big difference. There's a big difference in the teeth. So, you know, if you are going to be using this, you know, you're not going to be getting the greatest of results with this, or should I say clean. You know, when I do use this, it is typically more for resawing, but I do use it for breaking up materials. Say I've got a tabletop to make, you know, and I want to roughly cut my boards to length, obviously leave a few inches either side, you know, to trim it off with one of these guys. I will use this saw, and this is just pure for ease, for quickness, because it will do it really quickly. But as I said, it's not the neatest of things. Obviously, and it's the same with Western saws. Obviously, the larger the tooth, you know, the less clean the cut is going to be. I haven't really got anything wide that I'm willing to sacrifice, because I'm not in the need to resaw, but I am going to try a few little pieces just to kind of give you an idea of what you can expect. So this is just some 2B3, I think. This is just 2B3 construction timber or lumber. So again, just to give you an idea, this is actually a bit too high for me, so I'm going to drop that a little bit. So something to bear in mind. If I was doing this legitimately for proper use, I would actually have a kerf mark, you know, with a kerf saw, or you know, a very fine blade in a plane, just to get me little kerf lines. So you know, this is just for demonstration purposes. I mean, that's super quick. I mean, if I wanted to, I could rip that all the way down and it would take us, what, maybe 5 minutes, if that. So obviously this is only a softwood. So I do have a little bit of oak here. I think this might be a little bit too high actually. We'll see. So same again, you might be noticing, just with the orientation of everything, I am just using the cross cut section just to get us started. Right, let's see how long this takes us to get to the bottom. So as you can see, you know, the same again, these guys really aren't to be sniffed at for resawing. So for anyone that is curious, this is, well, this is just under 2 inches. As you can see, it's not too bad, but obviously this is not really any good for like fine joinery. So just to give you a comparison, and again to give you a further comparison, I'm going to use this little flush saw here. I've just swapped this blade over, and this is the blade I was talking about before. This is better suited for carpentry work, or cabinet making rather. So again, just to give you a comparison, so obviously you can see that is finer than this one, and this is like your general purpose one, and obviously this is the flush saw one, which I typically wouldn't use for doing something as long as this. The flush saw is actually better suited for smaller things, so you know, that was just to give you a comparison. Next up is this guy. Again, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name. I'm going to put it on the screen. So you could imagine this as kind of a Japanese equivalent of a dovetail saw, somewhere along the lines of that. So these teeth are sharpened for a rip cut. I do believe you can get these for a cross cut. So just to kind of show you a bit of a difference, so obviously combining the two of these, and they're both cut for rip cut, so you can imagine that, you know, the cut is going to be really fine on these. So these actually do have a spline. Obviously this, you can see how flexible it is. It's really fine. So this is 0.3 of a millimeter. It's super fine, and this does actually fix differently to the handle. Again, it's the same sort of handle, really good grip on this, but we do actually have a little thumb screw here. Thumb screw comes off, it comes out like so, and obviously you've got your spline, and you've got the blade. So, you know, just to show you how thin it is, it's ridiculously thin, and obviously that's why it needs the extra support of the spline. So when you do change these out, obviously they go back into position, and you've got a little notch here, and basically the little notch is just for the thumb screw to get a hold of, to stop it from sliding out when you're using it. So I did actually use this the other day. I shot some video footage the other day while I was actually cutting dovetails, just to show you what you can expect when you are cutting dovetails. So I'm going to show that now. I'm going to show you a little demonstration with this guy, and I think I'm going to compare it to the RYOBA saw, just to show you the difference, just with how the teeth are set, etc. So I think you should be able to see this on the saw. It's actually very clean cuts, and you're seeing it went through very quickly. So I'm going to miss this one, and I'm going to do the same this one just for the camera angle, and I'm going to actually cut this one with the RYOBA saw, just to show you the difference. It takes a little bit more care to start it off. So as you can see, this is the RYOBA saw. The curve is obviously a lot bigger. It did take a little bit more time to start, and it's certainly not as clean as the dovetail saw. So as you can see, the dovetail saw, it's nice, quick, easy. There was no problems in starting it. So I mean, if you are going to be doing a lot of dovetails, I say invest in one of those, because they are really good. Although this is shaped for rip cutting, I am going to show you what you can expect if you use this. Maybe if you're cutting shoulders on a mortise and tenon joint, something like that. So that's super fine. I wasn't actually expecting it to be so good. So I don't actually know how well you can see this, but there's very minimal saw marks. I can see a bit of a couple of scratches here, but the rest of it is, it's really to the touch. It's super smooth. It's absolutely ridiculous. As I said, I wasn't actually expecting it to be so good, because normally I would use a rip cut saw for that. I'm actually quite surprised with that. Something else this is going to be good for is doing smaller tenants, the likes of stub tenants, things like that. So you know, you're going to get maybe, what's that, maybe 2 inches. You maybe get like a 2-inch tenant. So that's going to be pretty practical for a lot of things. So again, I'm going to show you what you can expect if you're going to be cutting some sort of a tenant. So as you can see, it's, you know, the sort of finish you get off it, it's really quick. I mean, and we've got to bear in mind, I haven't marked out for anything. I've just, this is obviously just for demonstration purposes, but you know, even then, it's actually not too bad. So you know, if you're cutting a lot of like joinery things like this, or dovetails, it might be something to consider getting. Next up is the humble flush saw. These are super thin, super flexible. These are really easy to bend, like I've done already. That's better. So it is what it kind of sounds like. I mean, should you have maybe put, I don't know, you've put a screw in, and you've put some dowel in, or some sort of a peg, and you will literally just come along and you'll flush cut it. So it can be used like, I think it's primarily used for a lot of things like that, but something I have used this for is really small and fine pieces. I feel it comes in really handy then. Sometimes, you know, sometimes using a RYOBA, it just can be a little bit too big and bulky when you're using when you're working with smaller things. Sometimes another thing what I've used these for is actually cutting the shoulders on tenants. So because the teeth are so fine, you do tend to get a really fine cut. And maybe about 9 out of 10 when I do use one of these, I don't have to clean the shoulder up with a chisel. Not every time, but I do get a high percentage. As I said, because the teeth are so thin. So again, just to show you, you know, so these things, you know, again, this is oak, so these do have a bite to them, but as I said, they are very easy to damage. But I've always got one of these in my kits. Funnily enough, this is one I bought with my own money. It's looking a bit worse for wear. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but it's actually lost some teeth and whatnot. So one thing I will say about these, when you are using them, don't be an idiot like me. Let your glue dry. If you've got maybe a screw hole and you're tapping a bit of dowel into it, the glue's still wet, and then you want to cut it, you will, is what you'll do, because the teeth are so fine. The fine dust and the glue actually gets into the teeth, and it sets into the teeth, it dries into the teeth, and it basically can cause problems. You've got to try and remove it, and it's just a faff on. So that might be something for you to kind of take into consideration. Give the glue a little bit of time to dry, which I do now, but for a long time I didn't, because I'm a little bit impatient at times. So guys, that's going to be the end of the review. Obviously this video could go on for hours and hours, me demonstrating what the can and can't do. So a takeaway from me, kind of would I buy them? Well, yeah, because I'd already bought all these before Workshop Heaven had actually sent these to me. Yeah, bought all of them. So if you're only going to get one, I would definitely recommend the RYOBA saw. They're so versatile. Again, if you've got a lot of resawing to do and you're doing it by hand, definitely recommend one of these guys. It cut my resawing time down a ridiculous amount of time. And again, I was actually quite surprised with this guy here. We just did how well he cut the crosscut section. I was really surprised. That was really thin. I wasn't expecting that. So guys, if you have got any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them the best to my ability. If you'd like to see some more reviews on other tools, let us know. Obviously I have got other saws, you know, I've got this guy here as well. Again, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but if you'd like to see some more reviews with things like that, or if you'd like to see more in-depth videos on any of the saws, leave a comment and let us know. And thanks for watching, guys.